Warning: the following episode of That Mental Ginger Show contains strong language and adult themes.
Alright, troops.
This episode of That Mental Ginger Show is recorded at Scuff Studios. If you're looking to do podcasts, music, or any creative passions, these guys will have you covered. For more information, contact Scuff Studios at scuff.studios.gla@gmail.com or find them on Facebook or Instagram and drop them a message. Scuff Studios, to nurture your creative passions. Hello and welcome to That Mental Ginger Show with your host Andrew Durning, aka The Mental Ginger. Well, my faithful followers, we're back in Scuff Studios. I've still got the eyes on. I look like a white Stevie Wonder. And I just thought I need to get some more guests in, especially when I look like this. And I've got a good friend of mine, a great actor, great musician, and a great friend, Craig Seath. Craig, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
And I'm so sorry you had to travel up those 3 flights of stairs to get to the studio.
6.
Oh yeah, because it was 1 then 2.
Yeah.
But we are still on the 3rd floor.
And I'm still breathing, so that's the main thing.
Yeah, well, I think that's the main thing for anybody in life. I was like, are you still breathing? Check. Okay. Yeah. So what I like to do is to get my guests to tell my followers their origin story. Because if there's one thing we all have in common, we all have an origins. So Craig, in your own time, please tell my faithful followers your origin story.
Well, I was a scientist. I did biochemistry and zoology and didn't have much time for anything in the arts at all. Didn't see the point in it. And
what is zoology?
Zoology, study of animals.
Study of animals. I thought so, but I didn't want to be like a guy who's like, who studies zoos.
Yeah, there's one in Edinburgh. There used to be one in Glasgow, I believe.
Yeah, I remember there was a Glasgow one because I had the quote Glasgow Zoo in a play that I'd done, and I didn't know why because I was like, there was such a thing as a Glasgow Zoo.
Yeah.
How was it all like buckfast pandas?
That's it. Yeah, they were all off their heads.
Yeah, that's why the Glasgow Zoo doesn't exist anymore. We killed them all.
Well, you could always see the animals because we're like,
yeah, they were always sleeping during the day. I wonder why they were hungover.
So yeah, it was. So I was quite late to get into the this acting side, and it was purely by accident due to my local co-op.
All right, so there's a story there. So what happened?
I went into the co-op to buy the usual, buy milk, bread and things. So there was a little flyer said, "Do you know anything about mining in the early 20th century in Fife?" And from my grandfather back, we're all coal miners in Fife. And I was interested in sort of genealogy, that sort of thing. So I knew a bit, so I went along because the Theatre Workshop Scotland, who are based in Edinburgh, were pitching to do a feature film based on the 1926 general strike and how it affected the miners. And I was quite interested, and so I went along and I sort of got roped in on various bits and pieces, and I think by accident I got a part in the film. And I absolutely loved it. It took 3 years from the first meeting I had, which was in a place called Valleyfield, which is industrial, shall we say.
All right.
And it was in the local community centre.
Yeah.
And there was myself, the chap who I was to find out was going to be the director of the film.
Yeah.
There was a community officer, lovely young girl, a drunk guy in a dug, and myself. That was it.
Oh man, that would have been some casting meeting.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Well, especially if the dog started talking.
And I went along, and we had to do this. We had to prove to both the BBC and to Creative Scotland that we could do something that was going to be quite good. So we did this, what we called a mini shoot.
Yeah.
Which was filmed over a couple of days, and went along, did that, really enjoyed it. We had a couple of read-throughs of the main script for the film.
Yeah.
And so, like, throw the scripts out. Everybody got a part, chose a part, read it. So did one read-through, fine. Then there was another read-through, and they had a list of characters and who was playing the characters this time. Mm-hmm. And there was a character had appeared in it that wasn't in the first read-through.
Yeah.
And my name was attached to it. So I ended up as the village doctor.
All right.
Which was great. And pillar of the community, apparently.
Well, also tied into your scientist background as well.
Yes, I seem to have...
So you got to say, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV.
Yes, I have some basic medical training.
That's kind of like what happened to me, because when we first met, I was doing like some of the theatre stuff. And because I was an extra in Gary Tank Commander for like a whole 2 episodes, they thought I was a soldier.
Right.
So I got roped into helping with... they play Game of Soldiers.
Right.
I had to teach them how to do all the military stances and stuff. And it's just stuff that I looked at when we were on the film in the canvas line. And all of a sudden I'm seen as this military expert. And I'm like, I have no fucking idea.
Don't even walk towards the horse, otherwise they'll have you galloping.
It was crazy. So I'm surprised there wasn't any more. Was there more doctor's parts as a result of that?
A couple.
Yeah.
A couple. I'm either a doctor or a serial killer. That appears. I've got that type of face.
So you've got that kind of Peter Tobin vibe about you?
Yeah.
Was Peter Tobin the Doctor serial killer, or was that
No,
Fritzl?
it was...
Was that Fritzl?
No. Oh, you're thinking,
right.
That'll come to me.
It'll come to us eventually. If it doesn't, leave in the comments who was the Doctor serial killer, so we can tag.
If I remember,
so we can tag Craig with the same brush.
Yeah.
So what film was it where you played the serial killer? I know, but this is for the audience, obviously, because I do my Facebook stalking.
Quite a few. There was one I did which was called The Last Love Letter, and I played this businessman, shall we say, but is slightly more hands-on than a businessman. The first review I read of it described my character as benignly psychopathic. So I thought, that's fine, I'll take that.
Yeah, that's the gist of what you were going for, I think.
Yeah. So it's been good fun, and I've been fortunate. I think my age, which is over 25, is
don't look a day over 25. Don't look a day over 25.
I think my age is a benefit, because if I was in my early to mid 20s, there are hundreds of people that have just come out of college, whatever. They're all going to be the next big thing. So
yeah, sometimes that works against them though, because especially if they come out of the conservatoire, because they instantly think conservatoire means up their own backside, and they're instantly tarred with a brush.
Yeah.
Well,
you and I know actors and actresses that are just brilliant.
Yeah,
and they haven't gone through the standard route, or what people think is the standard route.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what for anybody that maybe hasn't listened, that has the idea of the arts, what would you say is the standard route for acting? Because this is something that always fascinates me, like hearing about the processes behind it. Well,
I've got a friend who went through the standard route, and he doesn't recommend it at all. He went to drama school. He feels it was a complete waste of time, from the point of view that it teaches you the ideal. You will arrive, you will do this. Everything is mapped out for you, and it never works that way. You'll know yourself.
Yeah.
Having done productions.
Yeah, the very few that I did, yes.
It's like learning to drive. You don't really learn to drive on your lessons.
Yeah, you'll learn once you pass your test. Once you pass
your test, that's when you learn to drive.
When I was driving, I didn't. When I was doing my driving test, I never knew how to park a car in Tesco. And then I passed my test, and I'm like, wait, how did I handle this corner? How did I do this?
Yeah, that's right. When you're on your own, we did. I've been doing a couple of films recently, and one of them, things started to go wrong. And the chap I was talking about that went through the drama school route, he said they wouldn't be able to handle it. He said, you just changed things just so it all fitted in and worked.
Yeah.
I said, but that's the point. Is if you're dealt a bad hand, you do your best with the bad hand.
Yeah.
As it turned out, it was brilliant.
Yeah. It's always the way. And I think it's something that people don't really realise, is that if there is a bump in the road, yes, you are allowed to have a freak out. Of course you are, because Well, in my case, when I was doing bits and pieces, I would have a freak out going, oh, something isn't working, what do I do? But then once you get past that, the vision kind of clears and you're like, okay, this isn't working, let's try something else.
Yeah.
And you'd wind up usually 9 times out of 10 with a better result than you were going to have if you did plan it out.
Yeah, yeah.
So you casually dropped that you were doing a couple of movies. And I loved how casual it was. I've been doing a couple of movies lately. Yes. But anyway. So how many movies in the end? Because you're more like the Scottish independent film circuit, I would say.
Yeah.
How many films would you say you've done?
I think the last count was 18. 18.
See, we are building credibility. We've got a guy with almost 20 films of experience on. Well,
yeah, some of them,
we are slowly but surely rising through the ranks.
Yeah, a lot of short films. When I started, after that first film, I realised I needed more practice. So obviously there are people who are just graduating or in their final year at college or university, and part of their syllabus is to do a short film.
All right.
And they go, oh, we're needing an actor. So, yeah, you don't get paid. You get fed. You get expenses if you're lucky.
Do you get fed, though? Or do you get fed as in, like, maybe they just get you a sandwich at Tesco?
Yeah, something like that.
I was speaking to Susan Sutton.
Oh, yeah.
And she'd talked about one of her guys, and when she said that you'd get fed, she was just given a bottle of water. And that was to do her for the full 12-hour shoot.
Well,
And then once she finished it, she just basically go to a tap.
I always said, if I did any films for myself, everybody would get paid, everybody would get well fed, and everybody would get expenses, and that's what I've stuck to.
Yeah,
so.
It's something that one of the reasons that Craig and I met was I had cast his very lovely wife Rosie in my very first play.
Great play.
It wound up being the only play, but it was it. And the thing that I done was that once it had finished up, I gave Rosie, the two Lisas, and Valerie all £20 each.
Yeah.
And they were like, we don't want this, we don't want to take this. And I was like, no, I've been and seen too many things where they say, oh, you'll get paid, or you'll get your expenses, or you'll get your food, or whatever, and nothing like that happens. If I give you this, then you can count it, it's paid, then you can count it on your CV. And it's the same deal with any work I've done. I've always at least offered to give someone payment, so they know I've valued their time and I've valued them taking time out of their days and their schedules to come for something like this.
I have real problems people accepting money. And I said it's a trilogy of short films I'm doing for a single actress.
Yeah.
Each film has got a single actress, 3 different actresses.
Yeah.
One of whom you know really well.
Yes, I do. We're still trying to get you on the podcast. Please come out.
You're listening, Nicolette?
I wasn't going to drop the names, but yeah.
I'll drop the names.
That's spoiler alert.
So the first one we filmed, it was going to be a 2-day shoot with a really good friend of mine called Rowan Burkett, who's from the Lake District. So obviously I had to get her up here.
Yeah.
Stayed a couple of nights. We stayed up in Killin because one of the scenes, it was up a specific place outside Killin.
Yeah.
So we just book a hotel.
Yeah.
Everybody had a meal at the hotel before they headed home. Rowan and I stayed overnight because she had to drive back down to the Lake District. I didn't want her driving from Killin straight down to the Lake District.
Yeah.
And we had great fun.
Yeah. It's always those wee stories that you never get to hear about.
Yeah.
I remember when we went and saw Convergence. That was Nicolette's.
Yeah.
And she's talking about how they were all just up in this wee cabin and just going through everything and talking about scripts and coming up with ideas. It sounded really good just to have essentially that couple of days just away from everything, away from society.
Yes.
And just solely focusing on the project. But how did you ever have to do more kind of things like that where you were just they're like, right, we're going to get you here. This is where we're going to be for a couple of days. You're cut off everything.
Yes.
How did you find it? Is it as idyllic as I'm making out, or was it hell?
No, it was very, because I was with people that I genuinely liked. It was just like being a student again, really. Apart from I don't drink, so.
Yeah, in fairness, neither do I. And it's because I just like to know I can drive the next day, really.
Yeah.
Well, and especially now I've got kids. Like I look at like my dad used to like maybe have a drink on a Friday or a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Well, and then he would still be up well as the next day, and I'm like, he was made of sterner stuff than I could ever be.
Yeah, I think
like if I'm in bed later than 9:15, well, and I'm sober and I'm still like, boys, leave me to sleep for another hour. Yeah. I can't do this.
But it's funny because it's some of our friends who are actors. I'll get a message from them like 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I was sound asleep and I don't turn my phone off.
Yeah.
And I'll hear bing.
Well, my wife was getting sick of that, so I have to put my phone on Do Not Disturb from like about 10 o'clock to right through to when my alarm goes off at 6:15 in the morning for work.
Well, there are 2 6:15 in the day.
Yeah,
there's one in the morning as well.
Yeah, there's one in the morning. Well, I didn't. Well, you're one of those ones that you can lie into like 7. Yeah. So what? I'll have to obviously bring up Rosie.
Yeah.
Because Rosie is how we met. Well, Rosie.
Yeah, I was trying to think. Was it through Rosie? Yeah, it was through a few.
Yeah, because when Rosie did the play for us, and we were going to do, and you always get the crazy ideas where you're like, I want to try and have music, and I want to have voiceovers, I want to have this, and I want to have that. I was young. I didn't have a fucking clue what I was doing. And
you had ideas, and you acted on them.
Yeah. Well, and Rosie said, my partner, because you're partners at the time, he plays guitar, he does acting. And I was like, okay, let's get him out here. And best bit that's ever happened. We did my very first acoustic cover song. It was Travis
Under 16.
You 16 girls, yeah. That was a great time. I loved that. And he did the voiceovers for.
And I did survive going to Coatbridge.
Yeah, well, you're one of the very few that does survive going to Coatbridge. Well, I barely survive, and I live in Coatbridge. But how did you find it from your side? Like, just Rosie going, this guy's wanting you to do X, Y, Z if you can do it, and you come and meet. At that point I was like 26. So basically just like says this snot-nosed 20-year-old like going, I've got an idea and it's going to be great, it's going to be on the edge.
It was easy because I trusted Rosie 100% on everything. So she was very much into the stage side.
Yeah.
And again, that was by accident. She used to come along when I was filming my first film, and we would go along. I think the first time I took her in, it was a scene I wasn't in, but it was quite relaxed. So we went in to watch the scene being filmed.
Yeah.
And we saw it done 2 or 3 times. I said, okay, do you want to go? She said, no, I want to watch this again. And she really got the bug.
Yeah.
But she very much got into stage work.
Yeah.
She was much more into stage than I was.
Yeah.
And
what do you think was it that drove her to the stage? I think it was the buzz of the audience and the crowd.
I think so. I think she enjoyed the immediacy of the response rather than having to wait 3 years before the film comes out. And she got contacted like a year after she started having a real interest in it, and ended up as a main character in a play at the Edinburgh Festival for 26 nights.
Oh man.
The play itself was, I still don't understand it. I've got a film of the dress rehearsal. I still don't understand it. But she was tremendous, and that was holding down a full-time job as well. So
wow, it
was tough. And during that, she also did a 48-hour film challenge, which is a competition where you have 48 hours to come up with a script. You're given a genre, whether it's science fiction or comedy or whatever.
Yeah.
You've got to insert a certain line. You've got to have a certain prop, and there's got to be a character with a certain name.
Wow.
And you're given. Everybody meets up on a Friday. There's maybe 20 or 30 teams, and you meet up on a Friday, and you're given all this. You've got to go away, write it, film it, edit it, and submit it within 48 hours.
Whoa.
That concentrates the mind. The last one I did was in Clydebank, actually, and it was Nicolette again that got me into that.
Yeah. Was that this year's one, 2022?
No, it was 2019.
All right.
2019 BC, before COVID.
Yeah, that's the new version of it.
Yes. So yeah, and that's quite good. I've done 2 of those. But
nice.
I remember Rosie had to come out, film her first scenes, dash back. We were filming out at Gullen, which is about 25 miles outside Edinburgh. Then dash into Edinburgh, do our play, and then dash back out to do our final scene for the 48-hour film thing. So it was.
Oh man.
It concentrates the mind.
Yeah, it really does. How do you find when you're in this type of work, everything can be very last minute, and you've got to get everything kind of done ASAP. And it really is like bang, bang, bang. How do you find it? For just getting into that? Is it something that you're more used to now? Because
I actually like it because I've always worked better under pressure. Give me 3 months to complete something, I'll complete it in the last 2 days.
You think that's maybe something to do with your scientific background?
Possibly.
Because it could be like you're sitting on something for ages, and nothing comes to you, and then it's like literally maybe 2 days before a deadline. It's like eureka.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Possibly, I don't know. It happened with this trilogy of short films I'm doing called Trio. The second film, I'd had the script. Originally, it was going to be a one-woman play.
Yeah.
I had the script for ages. I mean, Rosie had gone through it and everything, so I'd had it for ages. And then an idea came up for an actress that I'd worked with on a short film called Cold, which was about mental health issues about Christmas.
Yeah, I've seen that one as well. It was really good.
It's the girl that played my daughter in it, Rowan.
All right.
And I got an idea for a short film for her. And I thought, well, there's no point in doing 2. May as well do 3.
Yeah.
Do a proper trilogy.
Yeah, why not?
And so what I did was I'd had the second one written and I had it already cast with a lovely girl who's a fantastic actress. But something happened in her personal life that she couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So at the off chance, I contacted Nicolette.
Yeah.
Said, would you like to do that? Send me the script. Sent her the script. I'm doing this. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And I wrote the first film, having worked with Rowan and knowing what her specific skills set was.
Yeah.
I wrote a film around her. And then the third film just came out. It just like, I had an actress. I don't know if you've come across Hannah Mackenzie.
Yes.
Yeah, I had her in mind for this, and basically wrote it in a single sitting.
Yeah, it's crazy though how you can just get into that zone within like just like a space of like a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about like the Scottish, like the independent film scene, because everybody associates like Scottish film with like Trainspotting or Filth or something like that, because they're not like the ones that they've maybe had a bit more commercial success, but there's so much more to that. And especially in the independent scene, which you've got quite a lot of experience being involved in and being a part of. What's it like being like so kind of well in with that community? What is it a case of like everybody knows everybody because it is such a tight net? Or?
There is that, yeah. You tend to get known for who you know.
Yeah. How'd you break into the circle? Can I get in?
It was.
Can I get? Well, I've got a great videographer. I've got great audio guys. Like, they need some more work, and it might get me discounts for getting the studio.
We got into it because we used to go along to a lot of networking evenings.
What was the one again that you and Rosie invited me to? Well, it was ironically, it was just before the company folded. It was the one that was in Glasgow. I can't remember.
Was it Callie Rose? Was it the one with Susan Sutton?
I don't think it was the one with Susan. But it was definitely one, and then people brought scripts and they did it once a month. Yeah, it was like once a month. It was kind of like a stage to page kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because that was how I got roped into Game of Soldiers, because I was reading for something else and I was speaking to the guy who wrote it. And I'd just recently done Gary Tank Commander, and then that was, you got military experience? No. It's like, but you've been in a military stage? Aye. Oh, can you help me out with this? I was like, all right.
Yeah, so it was just networking.
Yeah.
Basically getting known. There was in Fife, where I'm from, little island off the east coast.
Hey, my best mate's wife's from Fife.
There's quite a good community of independent filmmakers.
Yeah,
and
drop my name in, will you?
Certainly.
No, just tell them I've got a podcast and they can do some promotion on it. It's all good.
in fact, I've got 4 days on one of the films in February.
Good.
Coming up, and which was a complete surprise.
Yeah,
because it's an American production.
Yeah.
So
how does that kind of come about? What is it? Because you've got an agent.
Yes.
Well, I've never had an agent, so I don't have a clue of how that type of thing works. So, how does that work for them getting jobs? Do they just contact you and say, "Oh, there's something coming up. Are you interested?" Send the stuff off.
Yeah.
And then you've got it.
Yeah. Or you apply for something either using Spotlight or Mandy.
Yeah. How do you use those type of things? Because again, it's the things where I've looked at it, but because I have no quote unquote credited experience, I can't get on that stuff because I've not done anything that's paid.
I really didn't get on it until the company I was using as an extras agency said, "We can get you on Spotlight." I went, "Okay."
Fair enough.
So, and because I had a show reel and I had quite a few credits.
Yeah. So talk through me about showreels, because I keep getting told, "Oh, Andrew, you should have a showreel." It's kind of hard to have a showreel when you have nothing. What at all? What?
Well, I'll say to you now what somebody said to me very, very early on. If you can't see the opportunity, make the opportunity. What's to stop you going out making something for yourself? It could be a monologue, it could be whatever. You don't have to be in anything to have a showreel.
Yeah.
You have to have a presence on camera.
Yeah.
And you could do that yourself.
They have showreels for directors and stuff as well.
Oh yeah, and for I saw a showreel for graphic designers. I've seen showreels for special effects. Showreels for my favourite people in the world, makeup artists. I do love them, but they do have a tendency to laugh at you when you're suffering on set.
I think anybody doing makeup has a bit of a sadistic streak about them.
Yeah.
Especially when they go for the eyes.
Yeah.
I always hated when I did panto and stuff, getting the eyeliner put on, and it was just, there was only one person that I trusted to do it, because it was the only person that never jabbed me in the eye with a pencil.
Yeah.
And someone went to do it, and I was like, nope, I need Helen. Helen does my eyes. It was the only time I went diva.
Well, I'm quite lucky. I know 2 or 3 really good makeup artists.
Yeah.
And yes, they are cruel. They are unkind. They're horrible, but I love them to bits.
Yeah.
They really, really, they put you, it's the first stage of you being put at ease.
Yeah.
And I've had some really horrendous makeup, special effects stuff done.
Oh, tell me. What's the worst you've ever had?
Strangely enough, it was quite simple. We were filming for a film called Automata, which is a horror film.
Yeah.
And we were filming on a beach in the north of Fife, and it wasn't the height of summer.
Oh, no.
And we were stripped to the waist, wrapped in chains, getting dragged along the beach and hit over the back by clubs from 6-foot-high ravens.
Oh, no.
It's a standard beach scene in Fife.
That just sounds like, an average night in Airdrie. We just need a beach.
Yeah, and I was in this, what they call the flesh column.
Yeah.
And I was going along, but the chains were real.
All right.
But they had fake blood on them.
Yeah.
So every time they said cut, they were so heavy, we dropped them.
Yeah.
Of course, you drop them into the sand, the fake blood attracts the sand.
Yeah.
You put it back on your shoulder, it's like sandpaper.
Yeah.
I was stuck between 2 guys that were, to be sexist, like little girls. Greeting and moaning. I was pissing myself laughing. The 2 makeup girls were sitting on a tussock of grass. They were ending themselves.
Yeah.
If he says, we'll do one more take, I'm going to walk off. And I was killing myself laughing. And but I was covered in blood. I had cuts. I had everything on.
No.
Yeah, it's fun. I've been wrapped in chains and dragged along. I said to the director, "I'm sure it's your homoerotic fantasy." He didn't deny it. In fact, I was talking to him because he's involved with this new feature film that I'll be doing in February.
Yeah.
And I said, am I actually going to survive one of your feature films? To the end, he went, seems unlikely.
So you're becoming the Sean Bean of the Scottish independent circuit?
I did actually say that.
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah. But this one's slightly better.
Well, we won't give the ending away. We won't let anybody know if you'll ever die.
No.
But as long as it's a case of if you got through, was it like Sean Bean, and all the stuff that he lives through is usually the stuff that bombs.
Yeah.
I always felt so bad for him. It's like, you can't even kill Sean Bean, right? Really?
In fact, in that film, Automata, I counted up, I actually died 4 times in that as different characters. Some of them were from quite a long shot.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, brilliant.
But yeah, it's good fun, and it becomes a real community.
Yeah.
We were talking that there are certain companies I've worked with.
Yeah.
One in particular called Hex Media. They concentrate on the horror genre, although they have just branched out. I've been really lucky because I've worked constantly through lockdown.
Yeah.
I've never stopped.
Wow.
Apart from I was ill with long COVID at the very start, but after that was the first 3 months. After that, we filmed, which is coming out in actually within the next 2 months. One of their first foray into fantasy.
Brilliant.
A film called Dragon Knight.
Yeah. I've seen some advertisement for that.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
There's a trailer out of that. You see me in the trailer for literally about 5 frames.
Yeah, but you clip those frames. It's like every time I've seen you in Outlander, I was always like, right, I know which episode he's going to be in because Craig has already clipped it. And it was when I watched the first year's Outlander, and it was the first time I'd seen Rosie after sadly she passed away.
Yeah.
Well, and I was so happy to see her. Because it was just it was a good 10, 15 second shot.
Oh yeah, when she was meeting Claire and Jamie.
Yeah.
At the house,
At the house.
Yeah, front and centre, her big ball face, and she said right in the front.
Yeah, she was right front and centre, and it was the first time I saw her after that. I had a smile on my face, and I was obviously a little bit choked up as well.
Yeah.
But it shows you how well respected Rosie was in the community as well. The amount of things that I've saw, and every one of them has had a dedication. My own stuff included. I've had dedications, as you know.
Convergence was dedicated to her. I did give Nicolette a row about that because I didn't expect.
You didn't know about it.
It kind of hit me.
Yeah.
There were 2 things that hit me about that film. One was that, and the other one was a certain scene in the film, which you probably.
Trying to block for legal reasons.
Yeah.
That was an interesting one. But a very good film. If you ever get a chance to see it, I recommend Convergence.
Convergence it's so different from everything else. That's what attracted me to it.
Yeah.
And it was.
I'm going to ask you this question. It's a little bit more of a harder hitting question, but I feel like I need to ask it. Well, as we've touched on, Rosie sadly isn't with us anymore.
Yeah.
And you two were really close because you're married, so fair enough.
You can't get much closer than married.
And you were obviously very close working in the industry together. Yeah. When she passed, did you ever feel like quitting?
Yes.
What stopped you?
My friends, people that I'd worked with, people I respected, wouldn't let me. And I thought, do I spend the rest of my life getting badgered, or do I just give in and try? I was actually, Rosie and I had done a play with Isabella Maranello.
Yeah, Isabella's
called
lovely.
Weekend in Girvan.
Yeah.
And after Rosie died, there was a run of 3 performances that were to go ahead in. I think it was East Kilbride. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Probably, I'll be corrected on that. And I said to Isabella, I said, right, okay, I'll do these performances, but that's it. My heart's not in it anymore.
Yeah.
And it was funny because there was I did those, and I didn't aim to do anything else.
Yeah.
And there's a director called Laurie Brewster who runs Hex Media.
Yeah.
And he contacted me, went, "Oh, we're needing somebody to be a runner for this film." I wasn't needed at all.
Yeah.
He was just making sure it was okay. So I said to his partner, Sarah, I said, "I know what Laurie's doing, and I appreciate it. But I'm not going to tell him because he'll make a joke about it." And then something came along. "Oh, we want you in this." So I wasn't actually reaching out, but people were reaching out to me. That's what I mean about it being a real community.
Yeah.
In some ways, it's like a rep company only, but for film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't thank the people that helped me through that enough.
Yeah.
I know that. Well, at Rosie's funeral, there were over 200 people at the funeral.
Yeah, and we'd actually spoke kind of off air, what me and the guys, because I was saying also who the guests were coming, and I'd mentioned, well, I couldn't make it at the time because that was when the boys had been born. They were in the neonatal. We just moved in. It was called the transition ward.
Yeah, and
it's where you have to live with them so you get used to it before you come home. So essentially, that was like a mini lockdown. We couldn't leave the hospital. And Joanna had messaged me to let me know about what had happened.
Yeah.
And when the funeral was, and I was like, I can't go, and I still feel guilty about that. I still feel guilty that I couldn't go.
Don't feel guilty.
I wasn't allowed to.
Yeah,
but it was. I just felt majorly horrible about that. But one thing, I was really, really glad that everybody kept supporting you and kept and basically
badgering me.
Yeah, and didn't let you quit.
Yeah,
because it was such a lovely thing to see.
I was so close to. Yeah. I don't think after a finished run for weekend in Girvan, that Laurie had me on set for no reason.
Yeah.
Just we then got into a friend of mine called Gavin Hugh, who runs a company called Midgie Bite Media.
Yeah.
He had this film idea for about a young girl who had mental health issues.
Yeah.
Now it's never said what has caused them or anything like that. It's actually online now. You could find it. It's called Cold.
Mm.
And he thought I would be good to play the father of the main character.
Yeah.
I had already met a girl called Rowan Burkett. She's a lovely girl, and said, right, okay, well, we'd done a concept photo shoot together.
Yeah.
And we got on really well, so that's fine. As I say, she lives down in the Lake District, and they said, okay, this is it. And it's the end of the film. There's a big, long scene between myself and Rowan, where I play a very, very understanding father. I would love to think I would be as understanding as the father. So I said, right, this is going to be a really emotional scene. I'll come down to the Lake District and we'll run the scene. I think she had about three words in it, but hers was all physical acting.
Yeah.
It was all the emotion was in her face.
Yeah. Not the acting, but the reacting.
Yeah. And basically we went to the pub.
Sounds like a good plan.
We never ran the scene once until the day of filming. Obviously, I knew my lines. It was basically a monologue with her reacting.
Yeah.
And we did the scene. We did the first take. We started at 10 o'clock at night. We were in this lovely lodge up outside Aviemore, which we'd hired for as a location. And we sat and we did the scene, finished it. We both turned to the director. I said, how did that go? He went, can you do it again, but just less emotionally, please? Rowan still refers to it as our tears and snotters scene. But we did, because we knew each other so well and we knew how each other worked.
Yeah.
It was straight into partnership. And it was like I'd always worked with her.
Yeah.
And the scene came out better than I even thought.
That's good.
It's the first time I've ever looked at something I've done and gone, that was good.
Yeah, that's good. We are starting to come up in time, so I'm going to ask you the same question that I ask all my guests. If you could give one piece of advice to anybody struggling with mental health issues at this moment in time, what would that piece of advice be and why?
Reach out when you have mental health issues. If you have depression, mental health issues, or if it's just because of something that's happened, grief, whatever, reach out. People genuinely, if you choose your friends properly, the people around you, if they say, contact me if you need help, use that. Don't be too proud just to sit back and think you can cope with it on your own. Get help. It doesn't need to be professional help. It just needs to be people who will listen, that you know will understand, and that have your best in their hearts. It's simple. Get support from your peers and your friends.
Yep. Sometimes the simplest explanation is the best, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're going to come to Fife's favourite segment, which is Ask Andrew Anything. Now, for the regular followers, this is when, after being interviewed for how long roughly, Ross? Half an hour? That's not bad. That's not. Well, he's pernickety. He's double checking because we've got such talent in the room. We want to get it right. So yeah, half an hour, 30 minutes, 35 minutes.
40 minutes. I was way off.
40 minutes. He was way off. This is when you get to ask me a question. It could go really well. It could go really badly, but that is all part of the fun. So, do you have a question for this?
Oh, yes.
Ginger? Oh, when they come ready, that's when we're ready to go. Byron.
Why the hell haven't you written any more plays? Because the last play you wrote was brilliant.
Because they're shit. I have written plays and they are fucking awful. They are so bad. Well, and I'm not lying. I have sent them away. I have been told that they are awful. Well, for creative writing. When your only compliment is that you have creative use of vulgar vocabulary, that's not a good compliment to get. That is like one of those backhanded compliments we use in our promotional videos.
Second question. So why was the first one so good?
The cast, basically. They brought much more power and presence to it than I could have ever wrote down. And I mean that 100%. The story was there because there was a lot of personal involved. There was a lot of raw energy, a lot of anger, from my side, and it had been about 4 years in the making to do it, and I finally just got the guts to do it. I was like, right, go back, go home. And I got the cast in, and the way they interpreted the characters and the way they did their own character studies and the way they did the writing, and their work made it so much better than I could have ever imagined. Especially the scene where it was all the like the voices and the voiceovers and stuff. Yeah. The only reason that worked so well was because I got them to kind of think of dialogue that we could use and think of like character studies we could use for it. I didn't have a clue what to write for that. I had an A to point B idea.
Yeah.
We just sat around the table. They all came with bits of research about certain things. I wrote them down. I took notes. And that was how it came to be. And that was the best scene in the play. And it was because they done so well with the work.
But that's what you need to do. You need to, like I was saying about if you've got mental health, you lean on your friends, you lean on your cast. Yeah.
It's just one of those ones that I think the way it ended with how I felt like I let everybody down. Because I'd booked out a 150-seater theatre for 2 nights and a total of like 8 people turned up between those 2 nights. And I felt broken after it. I felt like I'd let them down. It didn't help that one of the girls actually said, why are we doing this if no one's here? And my heart absolutely broke. We ended on a good high as well. We ended in my hometown. There was lots of people there. It was great. But after that, I just felt, I felt completely broken. and I lost all my confidence. I still don't have it, in all honesty. So
I'll sort that out for you.
Yeah, like I said, get me into the inner circles and we can talk.
I'll get you killed 4 times in a film easily.
I'm okay with that. People love seeing gingers dying. It's all good.
Just put you out in the sun.
Yeah, leave me out in the sun for 30 minutes and I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, my faithful followers, I've been Andrew Durning and this has been the brilliant Craig Seath. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting me through.
I've had a great time. And it's always good when you catch up with old friends as well. And hopefully we can get to work together more in the future.
Yeah.
Until next time, my faithful followers, take care, stay safe. Bye-bye.